Hello everybody and welcome back to the Outdoor Channel. Behind me is our Lund crossover boat. We just got done spending 3 weeks up on the Canadian border right on beautiful Rainy Lake, doing some fishing, some time with family, and of course content for the channel. And this is something that saved my butt on the very first day. We'll get into that in a second. And to explain what this actually is, this is the Animan jump starter. Now you can get these on Amazon, but it does a lot more than just jump starting batteries. You can charge a battery. Of course, you can jump start it. There's some leads you can plug in here in the bottom. It's also got a built-in flashlight, has a built-in tire inflator. So we're actually going to try this on the truck. Truck's got 35 12.5, pretty big tires. See if we can put some air in one of those. It also has a built-in power bank, so you can plug in a phone, a tablet, any car accessories. You can use a USB accessory type port on there. And so we're going to go ahead and give this a review, put it through its paces, see how well it does. It's all coming up next. Stay tuned. Alright, so on to the issue I had on my boat when I was up north. Now, the boat has a trolling motor, has dedicated trolling motor batteries. All of the other electronics, such as these graphs up here, run off of my crank battery. And we were up on a bay all day, having a great time, catching lots of fish. Trolling motor batteries are fine, they're doing their work. But we didn't run the big motor for quite a while, and we ended up draining the crank battery, having a bunch of electronics. We got this one here, we got a Helix 15 at the bow. They take a little bit of juice. Get ready to leave, come back in for the day, and the boat does not start. So having one of these, hooked it up to the battery, we were able to fire the boat up right away. We were able to get home because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere. So what we're going to do next is go back in time a little bit, do a little unboxing, show you everything that comes with the kit. Do that next. We have our cables here, attachment for a Schrader valve to fill up something that has air, like a tire or maybe some airbags, and a few other accessories here. We'll go over that in a little bit. All right, we're going to go ahead and start to dive into some of the functionality here. I'm just going to press and hold down the power button for just a moment. Now again, this has a few different functions. What we're going to talk about first is the air compressor. Now there's a fitting that's right here, and you can take the supplied hose and just go ahead and thread that on. Okay, they have a few different presets that you can cycle through. You can see this first one is designed for a car. Now this is metric, this is bar, so it's about 14.5 psi. If you're here in the States like I am, but you can go ahead and press the second button down and cycle through. Motorcycle again in metric, bicycle metric. It looks like they have a picture of a basketball there. You're getting into PSI, and at any point you can go ahead and press the up or down button to kind of dial that in some, and you can cycle one more time. This is just no preset. It's starting you out at 36 PSI, and again you can go ahead and bring this up to whatever you need. So we're going to go ahead and try the air compressor out here in just a moment. Okay, so this is a pretty heavily modified Silverado Trail Boss. It is a lifted truck, and a little while after we put the lift on there, we also added some airbags to the truck, help it ride a little bit better, help it with towing the boat and the camper. And just like most airbag systems, with changing the temperatures and just sometimes through use, we'll lose a little bit of air pressure in the system, so we're going to go ahead and use this to add some air to the system. Now in my case, I placed my Schrader valves here, so it's easy to service. We're going to go ahead and turn the unit on again. Hold that button. We'll go ahead and cycle to just PSI. 36 pounds is about what I usually have in here anyway. We're going to go ahead and take the hose and attach it to the valve. Now I went ahead and took some of the air out, so we're running about just under 10 pounds here. We're going to go ahead and hit the power button, and you'll hear the unit go ahead and start the cycle. Now at any point you can go ahead and hit that power button again. It'll stop cycling, And then if you need to take air out, just like any valve, you can go ahead and just hit the release on here. Air pressure out. Go ahead and try the other side here. Now we're going to do the same thing on these pretty large Mickey Thompson 35 12.5 tires. I try to keep these around 48 pounds or so. I'm at 46.6. Not sure if the camera's picking it up. We're going to go ahead and hit that power button again. So it is filling up with air. It is taking quite a bit longer than it did with the airbags we showed you a minute ago, but it is taking air. Just a little bit slow. You can see it's also consuming some of the charge in doing it. We're going to go ahead and let this finish up. Okay, so that took about a minute-ish to go from about 47.5 to 48. So we'll definitely take some time to fill this up. Not the end of the world, just know that you might be on the side of the road for a little bit of time. It's probably going to consume a little bit of charge, and but hey, you know what? It worked. Now something that's actually kind of a nice touch is this rubber piece right here. Now as I've been using this for a handful of minutes now, I've noticed that the threaded end of this hose is actually getting a little bit toasty, and this rubber piece here is preventing me from burning my hands, so this is actually a really nice touch and very useful. They also give you a few different air attachments here depending on what you need to inflate. What I'm going to use now real quick is the needle attachment because we have an old Wilson football here that clearly needs some air. Ready to go. And the next thing we're going to check out is the built-in flashlight, or what they're calling the torch. All you have to do is press and hold down the third button down. Looks like a light, and you'll see that it illuminates there. We'll check this out here in the dark in just a moment, and you can cycle through this a little bit. Press that again, you have a strobe. Press that again, a little bit different type of strobe, and press one more time to turn off. So that's pretty handy if you're doing something at night. You have a built-in flashlight, or again, what they call a torch. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into the camper. We're losing a little bit of daylight, it's starting to get dark. We're going to see if this flashlight here does any good. Now it's not pitch black in there. There's a little bit of ambient light coming through the windows, and we'll see if it helps us find stuff. Here's our light. And you can see here, we'll just use this wall as an example. Puts out some light. We'll try another corner here. Go into the bunk area. Now I don't have a slide out at the moment, but yeah, it definitely puts a lot of light out compared to not having it on. So that is not bad. Okay, at the bottom of the unit you'll see a couple of spots to attach different types of plugs. This bottom one here has your leads for jumper cables. They come with this nifty attachment, so you're not screwing anything in or having to do anything fancy. You can just simply plug that in just like that. Alright, so we've moved over to the boat for a couple of different reasons. One, I have easy access to a 12-volt battery there, and that is because I have some instrumentation here. Now if you're a fisherman like me, this is the new Humminbird Explorer 12. You can see the custom mount that we've put this on. We've taken the gauges out of the boat and did something really creative here. But this has a battery readout there, and you can see it's stuck from the bottom. We're reading 11.7 volts. It's 12-volt battery, so we're kind of in the ballpark there. And if you're curious, this is beautiful Rainy Lake where we just came back from. And so this is without the battery charger hooked up. We'll go ahead and hook it up and see what the voltage reads after that. And as I hook up that red terminal, you'll hear an audible beep, and that red and green flashing will turn to a solid green, indicating that everything is hooked up and working as expected. Alright, now that that's hooked up, you can see we're hanging out closer to 13, 12.6, 12.7, 12.8. So you can see it's getting a greater charge than it had previously. Now you can see that meter has dropped down quite a bit from using this over the last, oh, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes between the air compressor, the flashlight, now charging the battery. So we now have a solid red light, which means we don't have sufficient power to charge the battery any further. Okay, right above that is a set of USB-A style ports and one USB-C port. You can see that there. Now this side is designed to charge the unit, and this side here is designed to charge another device. So we're going to go ahead and test that now with my iPhone. Take the supplied USB-A connector here, and we'll go ahead and plug this into my iPhone. And you'll see right away up there at the top you have a charging status. Okay, we've been using this for a little while now, and you can see the battery charge is low. Not sure exactly what that is, but it's probably somewhere between 15 and 20% if I had to guess. And didn't last terribly long, but at the same time I did not give this a full charge. It just came out of the box and started using it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and plug this in and see how long it takes to give it a full charge. Alright, so we're a little bit more than an hour into it, and we're not quite halfway. A little more than 2 hours and a little more than halfway. We have crossed just over 3 hours, and we are about 3/4 of the way full. Therefore, I suspect this will be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4 hours or so to get a complete charge. Now, like I showed earlier, this is a USB Type A. It does go into a USB Type-C port here on the bottom. However, if this was a Type-C going to a Type-C, I'd imagine this might charge a little quicker. But I want to use what came with the kit just to demonstrate how well it works. Alright, as you can see, we're a little over 4 hours, and we have nearly a complete full charge out of this. So a couple takeaways from this. Depending on how far down you take the battery will of course determine how long it takes to recharge it. So we were starting somewhere between 15, maybe 20% of a charge. Probably somewhere between 4 and 4.5 hours to recharge with this USB Type A cord that came with the kit. Alright, that's it for my review of the Handyman Jump Starter. Again, it does quite a few different things. I will leave links over in the description. I will also leave a discount code if you want to get one of these for yourself. Thanks for watching the channel. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time.